Shout out Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Hey, y'all. We are back. Yes. Y'all, my studio audience is just, they're always so kind. They're always so happy when I come back. They're always so glad to be here. It's just so awesome. I am Tamara. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new episodes drop every Thursday. So if you like what you hear, you know what I'm saying, come back through. And then if you are my regular listeners, man, I just definitely appreciate your support. The further I get into this, more and more people, like my friends and family, are like, wow, you're really still doing this. And I'm like, yeah, I really still am. And it's because of y'all, you know what I'm saying? And so thank you so much. If you are not, you should be following me on social media. I have been slacking on tweeting lately. I will admit that because I have been very, very busy. But you still should follow me on social media. So the link to my link tree with all my social media handles is on there. Even the TikTok, which I am getting a little bit better. I have content ideas. I just have to have the time to do it. But I actually am working on something. But anyways, yeah, follow me on TikTok. Let's see what else. Melon Intoxicate. Yes. Buy something. That's it. Just buy something. A shirt, a hoodie, a cup, a phone case. I mean, there's just such an assortment of gear and just stuff that you can get. Support. Appreciate it. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, hold on, I gotta get my sounds together, y'all, because we are in the presence of greatness, y'all. Listen. Yes, God is good. He is a way maker when there is no way. Y'all, I have a guest, and I'm excited because I've kind of had the same rotation of people on for a while. And so I haven't had a new guest. I think Doug was the last kind of new guest. Shout out to Doug, even though he doesn't admit that episode happened. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to him. But yes, we have Kyle here today from the 12 Kyle podcast. Yes, welcome him. Yes, see, y'all, my studio audience is just...
Oh my God.
They're so welcoming and I appreciate them. But yes, Kyle, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Tamra. I appreciate it. I feel special, man. I feel special. I was telling you before we came on, like, I've been listening to you since like maybe your 5th or 6th episode. So for me to be here, in the great words, Eddie Murphy, I'm very happy to be here. Very happy to be here.
That is crazy because back episode, those of y'all, I have grown, and y'all know that I've been listening. Y'all have gone through intro. The intro was different back then. The podcast graphics was different back then. Man, especially when I first started. It wasn't no video. Like episode 5 is like, that's like OG status. And the fact that y'all kept listening.
Well, you know what it was for me was that it was the thing that I appreciated was that you had a different sound. And then what you were talking about, you weren't trying to fit in that lane of, well, let me talk about the latest gossip this week, or let me talk about what happened to this person or that person. You just giving your personal testimony, if you will. And I think that was, at least for me, that was refreshing, because at that particular time there wasn't anybody that I was listening to that was just talking about just their I mean, like, literally you took us on a step-by-step journey as to what you were going through that particular week. So it's almost like an audio diary. That's kind of
Yep.
like what it was. So so I gravitated towards it and started listening, and been here ever since. So again, I was honored when I got the D. I was like, what? I was like, I'm getting an invite. I was like, oh shit!
That
I
is
was so happy.
so. And you know what's crazy is I have been trying to think. So because I say this on here, the people I have to have an idea of like
Hmm.
I want to do this. So that's always how it is. Okay, this is what I want to do. Okay, who would be a good person to do this with? And so prior to coming up with the idea of this episode, which I have just been in a creative zone where my ideas are very random how it comes to me, but I was already thinking like, okay, I got to figure out how I want to get him on the show. And I didn't want to do music. That's like the obvious thing, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
And
right.
although
I'll
I
talk
do
music now. I'll talk.
yeah,
You know, I'll
I
talk
do
music.
have an idea though for a music. So hold that thought, y'all. This
Okay.
won't be the last time y'all hear. And y'all know I'm big on competitions and all these things that I come
Right.
up with because I just like to have fun. But I've been trying to think of an idea of how to get you on for a while, and I didn't want to start with music. And so then as y'all, if y'all read the description, we're going to talk about, family gatherings and all that good, fun, funny, dysfunctional stuff that happens therein. And I was like, okay, I want to do this episode. Who do I want to do it with? And you were the first person that came to mind. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
Hercules,
And,
Hercules.
and so, like, and I don't even know. It's so funny because I never thought of this until I heard Baylor say it. So shout out to him because he
Shout out.
said, I think it might have been a conversation we had, but I know he has said it on his show too that you like that big brother vibe.
Yeah, yeah.
And when he said it, I'm like, yep, you're like that older brother, even though you're actually not that much older than me,
Well, that's
probably at
good.
all, because I'm older than Baylor.
Yeah, I'm older
Um,
than Baylor. I'm 10 years older than Baylor. So
really?
I just turned 49 last week. Just turned 49. Yep. Yep. One step closer. One
No.
step closer to retirement. One step closer to
Oh,
50.
I didn't. Okay,
I'm
well,
old school.
you are a little bit older than I thought you
Yes.
were, but still not that much. But you are like that older, like not the older, I'm trying to be your friend and I'm gonna
Hmm.
let you just do whatever type
Right,
brother,
right.
but that older, like, man, I'm gonna just give it to you real. And just even the
Thank you.
way you talk about your family, like y'all Thanksgiving trip to Cali, just listen to that episode. So it's
That was
like
dope.
you also, even though you talk about music, you talk about other stuff too. Um, so yeah, you are like that older brother. Never thought about that way until Baylor said that. I was like, oh yeah, that is the vibe. So who better to talk about the dysfunctional family functions than
Yes.
with Big Bro Kyle?
Whew. Mm,
Before
mm,
we
mm,
go
mm.
there, though, I like to do I saw a tweet segment. Now, I don't have one of your tweets. I don't
Okay.
always
You
do.
you about to make me
Yeah,
start sweating
I
just
know,
now.
I know. I like that
Like,
people get nervous though,
hey,
because
what the hell did I
you never,
say?
you never know how I'm coming, and it's funny that I have created that. And actually, Jay and Juice are the only ones that I've actually done their tweets.
Okay. Okay.
Anyone else, I don't even always do it with guests. It kind of just depends what I see and, all that good stuff. But I couldn't have you on here without somewhat talking about music,
Okay.
just a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay.
And shout out to Autumn. She
Mm-hmm.
shared in the group chat that hold on, let's get there. Okay, y'all. Yes, yes.
Oh
So
shit.
if you are not watching Jodeci, which let me tell y'all something, okay? Back in the 90s when I had absolutely no business in the world, what they come out in like 91, 92?
91. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I
Yep.
was 11. I wasn't even a teenager yet. And I had no business talking about some Come and Talk to Me. I had
Mm-mm.
no business listening to any of their music. but that was my group. When I tell y'all that was my group, that was my group. I had the Jodeci boots in junior high and high school. And Kyle is laughing because he already knows what that means. Because not everybody
Wow.
understands what that means. You got to be of a certain level of maturity to know what the Jodeci boots are. I definitely had those with the cross colors and everything that was going on back then. Jodeci was my group, and then
Mm.
they fell off, and then they came back
Mm-hmm.
about a year or so ago, maybe a little bit longer. Might have been 2 years, and then they fell off again. And then I saw on Instagram that they said that they were back, but I was like, okay, yeah, we heard that before. Where's the album that y'all said was coming? Because
Right,
I
right.
follow Mr. Dalvin on Instagram. But then Autumn, God bless Autumn, she sent to the group chat that Jodeci, not only are they back, y'all, but they are on the road. So they
Mm.
just hit the ground running. Yes,
Yes.
yes, God is pleased with y'all. And they have a concert coming up with New Edition and Charlie Wilson. So my question, because I definitely looked to see where the tour dates were to see if they were coming anywhere near Omaha, which is
Mm-hmm.
where I live,
Right.
which they're not. The closest would be probably St. Louis,
Okay.
which I just don't know if it's that serious for me to like. I don't know anybody in St. Louis that I can think of off the top of my head. Not anybody that I will go
Right. Go
like,
kick it with. Right.
yeah. So I don't know about that, but they are coming to Atlanta in
Yes, indeed.
February.
Yes, indeed.
So the question of the day, Kyle, is are you and your wife going to the Jodeci New Edition Charlie Wilson concert? And if the answer is no, I'm going to cry.
Well, you know what? I was about to say, Autumn. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Autumn, for putting this into the group chat.
Hmm.
Tamara, I will say this much: you've listened to me long enough, and I think you know me well enough that I will definitely be going to this concert.
Okay.
I
Yes, I thought so, but you never know. You know what I mean? Like you never know.
and I think part of it is because both of us, both me and my wife, we're both big fans of New Edition, big fans of
Mm,
Jodeci, and
okay.
I think that we saw them in concert here in Atlanta. Um, this was damn. It had to be like 10 years ago because she was pregnant at the time,
Yeah, cause
and
y'all
so
do have like grown children.
we we
I
got a
was
little.
listening to the ages, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
we
wait a minute, because I know they got like a 9 or 10-year-old or
Yes,
something.
our oldest
Ooh,
is 22, then we have a
ooh,
19-year-old son, and
mm,
then
I'm right
Brandon
there with
is
you.
he's
And
15, he's in high
then,
school, and then our daughter, she is 10. So
mm,
we got them spread out. I tell people
that's where y'all lost me. Mine are 22, 19, 18. Boom.
oh man,
Yep.
listen. So
Mm-hmm.
I tell people we got 4 kids because we didn't want to have 5. So so
I feel it.
so we when I saw this, I want to I can't remember if I saw it on Instagram or not, but when I saw it I was like that would be dope because I remember us going to that concert, but and my wife, she had fun, but she
Yeah,
was I mean,
pregnant.
and
Mm-mm.
here's the thing, Tamara, she was, I want to say she had to be like maybe 7 or 8 months pregnant, and the concert
Oh
was
no.
outside.
Oh no.
It was
Oh no.
outside, so it was
Outside in
hot.
Atlanta? What time of year?
Oh, this was like um August, so it was hot.
Woo, she a real one. Cause no,
so
absolutely not.
we enjoyed the concert, but I just know, like, I can only imagine being pregnant and being outside in the heat. Nah, it wasn't the move. So
Mhm.
when I saw this, I was like, this would be dope. I've never seen Charlie Wilson in concert before, but I'm a little concerned about Jodeci,
Mm.
which we all would be.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
because at that time it wasn't even Jodeci, it was just Casey and JoJo.
yeah.
And Casey was, he was looking like he was going through some things.
That's why when I'm like, "Are y'all back, or what's gonna happen next month?"
But
Cause
it was interesting because I remember what's my man name? Genuine opened up for him. And what was interesting was the stage was kind of set up, and then like you could see off like to the left or whatever like that, and to the left, Genuine was performing. And I mean, this was Genuine Pony. I mean, he had hits or whatever like that.
Was it sober Genuine or
Yes,
was
yes,
okay?
he was
Because
sober.
you know what I mean when I ask
Right, right,
that
right.
clarification. I've seen some clips that I'm like, "Are you good,
He
sir?"
opened it up and he was doing well, and then all of like you could see like to the left of the stage, and apparently they had like a curtain that was open that probably shouldn't have been open, but as the curtain was slightly open, you could see like the New Edition members coming in, and Bobby Brown walked in, and he walked into the arena or whatever like that, and all of a sudden in the middle of the Genuine set, you just hear this roar from the crowd, and Bobby was kind of he wasn't doing it on purpose, but he was standing where the crowd could really see him. So
Mhm.
people were just women yelling. I mean, and Genuine kind of look around like he was singing. He was like, "Oh, they love me." And then he kind of turned, he kind of turned and looked like
Oh, poor
this motherfucker.
Genuine.
And then he realized like they wasn't cheering for him. And so that's one of the things that I remember about that concert. But yeah, when I saw the advertisement, I said, you know, when tickets go on sale, they're coming to Atlanta, we gotta go. So we will be attending in February. I mean, we gotta be safe because you know the
Of
Rona's
course.
still
Yeah.
here. And
Yeah.
we'll still be here come February. But
Yeah.
you know, God willing, we'll be there for real.
I told Autumn, I'm like, because my dad lives I can't remember exactly the city because they just moved. He used to live in Fairfax.
Okay.
So he's in the Atlanta area.
Hmm.
And I've already told Autumn, like, I will go visit my dad, quote
Right,
unquote, which
right,
I will
right,
really go see him.
right.
But I will go visit him and make sure when I come visit him that I come see her, make sure Audrey's
Yeah.
invited. And I already told you when I come down there, like,
Yes,
we all gotta link up just
we do.
because how I'ma come where y'all at and not, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. So uh I told her though, man, if I have the money, I might have to go visit my dad. That guarantees me a place to stay and
Right,
not have to
right,
pay for a hotel.
right.
Um, and go to that concert because
Yeah.
you know once, which anyways, once my finances get there, because my time is mine now. So
Hmm.
like I have always wanted to travel, but first I had my son and then the rest of my kids. So it's kind of like becoming a young mother and me really just spending my earlier adult years devoted to them, getting
Right.
my education, and then working in the social work field. I mean, you get them passion checks, but them passion checks don't really create the life
Right,
that you
right, right.
necessarily want to live. So now that I'm in an industry where the potential to make more money is there, like once I get there, I have goals. I figure by next year I should be there. Just if I keep on track with how things are going now,
Hmm.
and folks will be seeing me. If you live somewhere and we cool, I will pop up. I'm
That's
not
what's
saying
up.
I'm coming to stay with nobody, not nothing like that, because
Right,
that's I don't know y'all like that. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
And
right.
y'all don't know me like that. But yeah, so this concert. I've never seen Charlie Wilson, and I'm not even gonna say I'm like this huge fan of his. Not that I
Same,
dislike
same.
him, but New Edition. But Joe, it could have been Jodeci by themselves. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But them plus New Edition, and it's like they all like the fact that they're all still here because we've lost so many people. You know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
I'm starting to understand. Oh man, especially when you think about the Snoop DMX verses, which was still forever will be my favorite verses. And I think it's just because of how much I loved their music, just the
Right.
nostalgia from when I was a teenager. But and then like there could never be a rematch. You know what I'm saying? So like stuff like that, I'm starting to understand. I always knew life was, short at times, but man, you just never know. So I'm gonna have to pray on it, and God is gonna have
Well,
to.
let's speak it into
You know what
existence.
I'm
The
saying?
money
I
will
will.
be there, and you will
Right.
be there
I
too.
will be there because that will
So
be
let's do it like
so
that.
dope And yeah, my kids are older, you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
already told them, don't worry about where I'm going. Don't worry about what I'm doing.
No,
My
you can't come.
Right. I already told them we got the podcast happy hour retreat in March.
Dope.
One of them was like, "Can I?" No, this is
No.
not for you. Like, you're not in the crew,
Right.
so you know what I'm saying. They really think that like they're supposed to have their lives, but then they're also supposed to be a part of my life. It
Right.
just I don't understand the
It's
logic.
kids. It's kids.
Yeah,
They don't know. They'll under. It's one of those things, kind of like we always heard when we were kids. You'll understand when you get older.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's
they'll
true.
they'll understand when they get older.
Yeah, when they have some kids and understand that, listen, I need no, you don't need to be
Hmm.
there. All right, y'all. So, y'all, it is this episode actually drops right before Christmas. And we just had Thanksgiving, so we are like waist deep in the
Mm.
midst of family gatherings. Then once you factor in New Year's Eve and just everything that
Mm.
goes around goes on around this time of
Oh, you
year.
drinking tonight?
No, that's what be so like if I'm honest,
You know what? That's one thing that cracks me up each week, because sometimes you'll stumble over. I was like, she's drinking, and then you're
no,
like, oh, I got my Tam special right here. I'm drinking
no,
on such
I
and such.
haven't listen, man, recording an episode, all my episodes have been sober since like August. Like, cause
Gotcha, gotcha.
I don't drink like I now, y'all. Listen, I wasn't out here like an
Like, yeah,
alcoholic.
stumbling and yeah.
Right. But I don't drink like I used. I barely drink. I've actually only drank once since August
Okay.
because where was I? I went to somebody, they had like a football party. So it's not that
Hmm.
I don't drink. I'm just a little bit more selective when I drink. And I've noticed
Understood.
that my my jokes and everything are more on point
Okay. Okay.
when I'm sober because I'm, more quick with it.
Right. Right.
And when I'm not sober, I'm not trying to be funny, but everything's funny. But people are, oh my gosh. And then
Right.
we'll get into the episode, y'all. But there was a podcast happy hour where I was lit. And I didn't understand why they were laughing at me so much
Because you was off the
until
chain.
a clip came through. Like I think Autumn might have sent a clip to the group, and like I will go back and watch them or whatever. And I was like, bruh, like what? I didn't understand that's what y'all was experiencing.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, nah, I be sober and still mess up on my words. So
Gotcha.
I don't even
Gotcha.
know what to tell y'all. But the holidays. And so
Yes.
I thought it would be great. I don't even remember what brought about this idea, but we all have, especially in the black community, I feel like we all live the same childhood in some sense when it comes to
Yes.
certain things with the holidays. So it'll be interesting to see if we have similarities in our list. But we each have 10 things, either dysfunctional things that happen at family functions or annoying or funny things or whatever that we're going to share because laugh at our pain, you know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
I'm sure y'all can relate because again, a lot of us have lived the same childhood, not just black people, but definitely black people when it comes to certain things.
Hmm.
Twitter lets me know that
Yes.
it was not just my household that was going through that, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? So yeah, I of course will allow Kyle to go first because he's the guest. And what I will say, in case you're my family or whatever listening, as I already told my mom, the names and identities of some of the people on my list will be left out to protect the guilty because you did it. But I don't want you to feel like I'm coming for you since I didn't get your permission.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want y'all trying to sue me because you think I got some money that I don't have. So yeah, you can go first.
Oh man. I think what I did was I came up with some observations, and then I'll just kind of give you some examples,
Mm,
or
okay.
anecdotes, if you will, to go along
Mhm,
with it.
mhm,
Number one, I think this is something that I found that we in the black community really, really have when it comes to families and dysfunctions, and it really comes up at holidays.
Mhm.
Number one, the observation that we don't like each other.
Mm.
Like we really don't like each other. And here's the thing, like, because none of us can control what family we're in. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? You're born into that family. You can't control who's your cousin. You can't control who's your father, your mother. None
Mhm.
of that. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, but we really don't like each other. So holiday gatherings kind of, make it that much more tense and sometimes worse because now you have to spend a
Mhm.
certain amount of time with your family and certain amount of time with people that you don't like. Think about it. The people that you don't like at work, you deal with them because you got to be there for 8 hours a day when we were
Mhm.
in the office. But family, I mean, this could be a whole day, or it could be, God forbid, let's say multiple days, or maybe let's say
Man.
even a week.
Mm.
So but yeah, we don't like each other. And the thing that always comes back to me was my late Uncle Sonny. He would always say, yeah, he's like, it's good to see y'all. He's like, but I don't want to make y'all. He said, I don't want y'all to make me happy twice. Happy to see me coming, happy to see me leaving.
Mm.
So yeah, I just that's one of the things I just realized, like, we don't like each other. We don't
Mm.
family. Sometimes you just don't like each other. So
Woo. Yeah. My kids are they're 18, 19,
mhm.
22, and I feel like I've raised my kids different than the way that I was raised. No shade to my mom. My mom is great. She's
And she's
supportive.
listening.
She's actually went to the store, so that's not why I'm saying that, but she might listen later.
Right,
But
right.
no, but in all seriousness, no shade to my mom.
Mhm.
People do the best that they can. And I
Right.
mean, I'm in her house right now and I don't pay rent to be here. So she obviously ain't that bad. You know what I
Right.
mean? Either way. But I just feel like I've allowed my kids to have more of a voice and like kind of have their own opinions, even though I'm the adult. I haven't been one of those parents where it's like, well, just because I'm the parent, I'm right, because I know I didn't feel that way as the child. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And so when the holidays were coming around, I remember one of my kids, who shall remain nameless, I had to specifically like say, "Can you for me?" Like for because they're at the age where if they don't want to come, don't necessarily have to. Like I haven't gone to every Thanksgiving or Christmas gathering when I became an adult. I make it more a point now because I'm older and I understand like you'll regret this potentially that you didn't get to see. Like I didn't go to my brother's wedding. I don't even remember why. My mom just brought that up on Thanksgiving how I
Wow.
wasn't at his wedding.
Wow.
But I remember this particular child, I was like, "Can you for me please come to Thanksgiving because I want you there?" And they kind of laughed, but I was asking in that way, not saying you have to come because you really could have not came. I mean, you're an
Mhm.
adult now, and so yeah, family gatherings. I remember I used to have to pregame before to be in the right mental state to be able to deal
Ooh-wee.
with it.
Mm.
Yeah, and I ain't even gonna lie to you. This list was actually harder to make than I thought, and
Same.
so I like that you took that approach because I was able to come up with 7 like personal things,
Mhm.
and then I was like asking my kids like, "Do y'all remember everything?" No, okay, you guys are literally no help. All the gatherings we had in between the three of y'all, nobody can't tell me nothing.
Mhm.
So then I actually, God is a waymaker. Yes, yes, he is, y'all. This article
Hallelujah. Oh, you're killing me with that.
Yes, yes, yes. But this article popped up because it's the holiday time that said 6 things or something like rude things people say. Oh, 6 rude comments relatives make at the holidays. So
Uh-oh.
I put those into 3 bullet points that I'm gonna share. So my first one, and people do this. I have either experienced this firsthand or seen it at a gathering. Again, the people shall not be identified to protect the guilty.
Right.
But y'all, when your relative pops up and either they gained weight or lost some weight, keep your mouth shut. Do not say you look like you put on some weight. Don't even say you look like you lost some weight, because even if you mean that in a oh you look good type way because you lost weight, what the underlying message that you don't understand is being spoken is that because you needed to lose it and you didn't look good
Mm-hmm.
before. Just don't even
Mm-hmm.
comment on nobody's weight. Keep that to yourself. You could think it all you want, but like,
Right.
don't say nothing. And yeah, I've experienced that one firsthand because my weight has been all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the size I am now, I wasn't always this size. So I remember though when I got super super small, my mom really thought that like I was smoking crack, to the point that her and her pastor's wife were praying for my
Oh,
deliverance,
wow.
is what
Wow.
she told me. And really I was just very very stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also like 20 something, so metabolism was like that back
Yeah.
then, back in the good old
The good
days.
old days.
And granted, no, I had never been, because I was like down to like a size 5'6", and I'm 5'9", so like that's small, you know what I mean? But even though, then you go to the other end of the spectrum, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like you don't tell somebody, like, just be quiet. I wish I had auto. Hold on. You know what? I actually do have this on in my phone. I got something for y'all for that. Hold on.
Oh.
Autumn, I'm borrowing this. Hold on.
Oh, I think I know what it's gonna be.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Now I don't do those awards because that's Autumn's thing. But in
Yeah.
that moment, if I did that award, you
Right.
will be the one to receive. That is so rude.
It is.
It is so rude. So yeah, that's my. This isn't really ranked, but that's my first one.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, yep.
Um, number two for me was something that I think again a lot of us run into. Um, you can't let everybody cook at the holidays. Um, you just can't. And I think the quicker that we realize that, the less stress
Mm,
it'll be, because
mm,
there's always going to be somebody wanting to bring a dish. And then when they bring their dish and nobody touches the dish, it's like, then they got an attitude. Why ain't
mhm,
nobody eat my potato salad?
mhm,
Why ain't
mhm.
nobody eat my
Because it's
tuna casserole?
nasty.
Yeah, because it's nasty. So we had to slide it off to the dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like when nobody was looking. I remember specifically one year we at Thanksgiving, we had as a family. Um, we did it more for convenience, but we actually had Thanksgiving dinner catered.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Y'all
yeah,
fancy.
that was dope because like the food we just got the food and brought it in or whatever like that, and it wasn't because people couldn't cook. Because I honestly come from a family of women and men who really, really, really can cook.
And it is a blessing that I didn't know that not everyone had, but we'll get into that.
so so yeah, I can cook myself. My
Mhm.
wife can cook. Um, and I just remember going to Thanksgiving dinner on my mom's side, and because we had to travel to New Jersey, just for convenience, it was
What part of
easier.
New Jersey?
That particular year we went to my uncle lives in Franklin Lakes. It's in Bergen County.
So my granny lives in Teaneck, New Jersey.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, that's like I want to say like Central Jersey, I think.
yeah.
Um, and so yeah, we went there, and we would go to Jersey every Thanksgiving, which is one of my favorite things to do. But that particular year, just because of convenience, because most of us were coming from out of town, it just
Mhm.
made sense to have Thanksgiving dinner, catered. But I do have a couple of friends who shall remain nameless, and I know they're going to listen to this podcast, and they're probably listening with bated breath, thinking like, "Okay, he better not say my name." But I have some friends who had family members, come to Thanksgiving or come to Christmas and cook, bring a dish to dinner, and it go awful. So yeah, you just can't let everybody cook. Sometimes you just gotta let, particularly the person who can't cook, give them something small. Say, hey, can you pick up a pie? Can you can you pick up a cake? Because you
Mhm.
can't, if you get that from the grocery store or something or the bakery, You can't mess that up. Bring the
Right.
cups, bring the plates, bring the forks and spoons, whatever. Just give them those kind of. But no, number two, I'd say, yeah, everybody can't cook.
So to piggyback off that, because one of my memories is actually tied to that, I figured
Okay.
we'd both have some, crossover, but mine is more just a story, which
Hmm.
is the one child that actually gave me some feedback. She gave me this story, and I'm like, well, of course that was already on my list because that was very traumatic. So, as I had alluded to earlier, I did not know how blessed I am to be in the family that I am as far as my granny can cook.
Hmm.
When I say my family can cook, there's never been anything that they've had that I didn't want to eat or I didn't feel like was good or whatever. My granny could cook, my mom could cook, my auntie can cook. So it's just them three as far as my granny's kids. I can cook, so I've cooked whole Thanksgiving meals by myself. And you really know that you can cook if you invite guests and they want to take to go plates. So
Yes.
that's when I knew I had
Yes.
really arrived because you know what I mean. And this was my
Right.
first Thanksgiving dinner that I ever cooked by myself because I'm very spoiled in that my mom will host and she'll cook, or if my granny and auntie come in town, they'll all handle that, and I'll just have one little thing that I might need to bring. So I've only actually had to cook in my 41 years of living 3 Thanksgiving dinners. The first of which was like at the age of 36 is when I
Okay.
cooked. Now, of course, I've cooked other things up
Right.
until then. So I didn't realize how blessed I was until one year someone invited a non family member who shall definitely remain nameless. I really hope they don't listen to this
Uh-oh.
because yeah, so it was told to that person. So we gave, not we, the person that invited them, which was not me, because I'm really, it's not like people who aren't family can't come, but it just depends on how I feel. You know what I mean? Because like this year, my son's roommate came, but that's different because it's like
Right.
he literally had nowhere else to go. And I don't know, maybe God has just softened my heart since then. I was with it. You know what I mean? But back then, when this happened, first of all, I already felt some type of way that someone had invited someone else. And I'm very much like a brat in my family. Like, I'm the favorite grandchild. And can't nobody tell me different because I'm the oldest grandchild. So you've
Mm.
loved me longer than you've loved the rest of these people. So how could
Uh-oh.
I not be the favorite when you've invested more love into me? Like logically, that just makes sense. But so I was very like feeling some type of way about this person being invited, not because I don't like them, but just like my granny and my auntie were in town. So I just, I wanted it to just be us because my granny lives in New Jersey. Like I said, my auntie lives in Kansas City, but still they don't come, all the time.
Right.
So they were told that they didn't need to bring anything because we got this. You know what I'm saying? I was even tasked with making the macaroni and cheese. And that, let me
Uh-oh.
listen, that was when I knew I had really arrived because if my granny and my auntie and my mama said it was good, and listen, the women in my family, y'all think I'm a trip. No, I am like the softer version of everyone. They would have told me if it wasn't right. You know what I mean? They ain't gonna just say it's good just because it's me. We don't get down like that. But
Right.
I made the macaroni and cheese. We already had greens. We already had sweet potato pie. I remember that was the year my auntie also bought one of the Patty LaBelle pies just so we could try it.
Hattie pies.
Yeah, wasn't a fan at all, but do your thing. You know what I'm saying? People buy it.
Hmm.
But I had my granny's, the recipe that I appreciate. But this person insisted on bringing some greens, bringing some sweet potato pie. Now, here's the crazy thing. This person actually ended up not, for whatever reason, not coming, but
Ooh.
still brought the food, which makes what happened even that much worse because you really could have kept that to yourself. But they dropped off this food. Now, because I already felt some type of way, and I'm also particular about who's sweet potato pie, because not everybody makes it the same. I'm particular about
Facts.
whose sweet potato pie I eat and whose greens I eat, so I have wanted nothing to do with it anyway. And I felt some type of way about an outsider being invited. Again, not because I dislike this person, because I
Mhm.
love them, but that was just what I was on. They drop off this food that nobody liked it.
Wow.
Everybody said the greens were nasty. How you mess up sweet potato pie? Like, everybody doesn't make it the same,
Right.
but how do you make it to where my daughter, and I quote, said, "You could tell about the disgusting greens and the dirt sweet potato pie year." That is a quote from my
Wow.
child for her anecdote. So, as Kyle said, the wise Kyle, if you get
Yes.
nothing else from
Yes.
this, number
Yes.
one, you cannot let everybody cook. Two, if you are told you don't need to bring anything, then don't.
Don't. Right.
Like,
They let you off the hook. Right.
offer because that's what you should do, but
Mm-mm.
and like you knew you couldn't cook. Like nobody told you that was good. Like why you do that? So then for you to drop off, were you trying to kill us? Like
Mm.
that's what made me feel some type of way even more because and then you didn't stay
So
and
yeah,
then
I was gonna ask. So how is it that they dropped the food off and didn't stay? I mean, like, because I would feel a way about leaving food and not being there to eat it or watch people eat the food that I prepared.
I can't remember
Okay.
why something changed with their plans,
Okay.
and
Okay.
maybe they felt like, well, I said I would do this. Now I'm
Okay. That makes
guessing
sense. Makes
because
sense.
you know, because I would have been like, oh no, that's okay, just because it was already covered. Like, thank God. Could you imagine if that was the only greens and sweet potato pie that we had
Mm.
to live off of that
Wow.
year?
Y'all have been mad as hell.
And it was at that moment, because I never thought that, like, I don't want to say like I thought all black people could cook, but I just never really thought that people were out here
Right.
living a life where, like, I didn't know how blessed I was, is what I'm saying, until that
Same here.
moment. And I'm just like, God, you really knew what I needed. Like, you knew that I needed to be a part of a family. You knew I needed to be black because the food that we eat on Thanksgiving, you knew
Mm-hmm.
that's what I needed. You know what I mean? Because I've been to like company gatherings that so I've experienced other cultures, holiday foods and
Right.
such. Now, mind you, my sister-in-law is white and they hosted Thanksgiving this year and she did all the cooking. I don't know what my brother would have helped with. But she made I forget what cornbread casserole. So it was like cornbread, but it had like corn in it. But it was actually good. I see you looking. I
Okay.
know.
I was waiting on you to say it was good.
No, it was good. And I was like, I mean, like real talk, I might get the recipe because
Okay.
it was
Okay. Okay.
actually and I was like, oh, okay. So like not it's not all bad,
Right. Right.
but the rest of the food was, our side. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
It's like
Got
she was
you.
trying to
Got you.
introduce, like,
Yeah.
hey
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
this
Y'all wasn't gonna turn the reins over to her the whole show. She couldn't get the whole show.
right. So she just like
She's
here,
just the opening act.
let me introduce y'all to this. But the rest of what this what y'all used to. But
Right.
yeah, so I mean, but I didn't. Yeah, God knew, and yeah,
Mm-mm. Wow.
woo,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. All right, next up.
All right, number 3. One observation that I had about family gatherings, and it's pretty obvious, particularly when there are levels of I guess competition, or even not even competition, but just how we live as a people. Uh, Family can be jealous,
Mm,
extremely jealous. In fact, more jealous than the biggest hater on the street.
Mm-hmm.
You come in the house, oh, here comes such and such,
Man.
with their new car and their new clothes, and I mean,
Mm,
it's like, damn, bro, I just walked in the door, like,
right.
you sweat me already, and it's just, but yeah, jealousy. I think, we as a people, we how we it just there's varying ways as to how we were raised. But like I was never raised to be jealous or envy of anybody, and
Mm-hmm.
particularly family, because my thing is like if we're family and you're doing well, then I should be happy for you. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
should be, you know, but I mean, I could see, a situation where you go to Thanksgiving dinner, you go to Christmas dinner. Oh, here come Tamara. She thinks she hot shit. She got her own little business and she got her own
Mm,
little podcast. Well, you got your own pocket. You making money off that pot. I mean, come on, man.
just
Like
haters.
it just. But yeah, jealousy permeates very much so, and it rears its ugly head at family gatherings during the
Mm,
holidays.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very blessed that that is not a part of my life. My
Same.
family, I'm the only one that does what I do, and they ask questions, but like legit care type
Hmm.
thing. Like when Melon Intoxicate finally launched, because I had told them about it, they were excited. So I'm very, very, my family is very supportive. They want to hear. Now, they don't fully understand everything that I do, they
Right.
can't remember everything that, not even my kid, what all do you do? People keep asking me, I don't know. It's a lot. I haven't even realized like how to concisely communicate it. I'm getting better the more people ask, but either way they're supportive, so I appreciate that. My parents will even share my, either especially my company stuff, on their Facebook, and like, hey, you'd be blessed to work with her. So thank God I don't have that. But another thing from this article, let's go back to the article,
Okay.
is folks tripping when you're not drinking. So if you're in a family where a lot of people drink and you choose not to, and that could even be that way with friends, and you go out and
Hmm.
everybody else is drinking and you're not, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter, people feel some type of way about that. And it's kind of like, why can't people just do what they want to do? Now, that hasn't been a thing in my family, thankfully, but I've gone out with people like friends, and like if everyone else is drinking and I'm choosing not to, oh, you're not going, no, obviously I'm not going to have nothing to drink because I would have already had it if I was
Right.
going to have it. Like, people are weird. I don't understand why you can't just do you without all that
Yeah.
extra.
And everybody's not into the same thing too. So
Yep.
if for some it might be. My thing is if you drink, then if somebody doesn't drink, respect the fact that they don't drink because everybody don't get down like you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yep. So that's the next one.
okay, okay. For me, um, one observation that I made was that family, and this becomes very evident at family gatherings, particularly during the holidays. Sometimes family members can be walking contradictions.
Mm.
You could have that aunt or uncle that has a significant other that not necessarily belong to them.
I like how you made that sound really just elegant and sophisticated.
um, you could have that cousin that may have spent a year or two away from everyone.
Mhm.
Um, and but the one person that I will share, which was a walking contradiction, but I I have nothing but love and respect for my late Uncle Sonny. I mentioned earlier. Uncle Sonny was cool. He was the coolest. He lived in Chicago, so I'm from South Carolina. So he would come down every holiday. We see him during the holidays. We didn't really see him much during the year. But in Chicago, he was a preacher. He had his own church. Um, but Uncle Sonny smoked Virginia Slims,
Oh.
and he also drank E&J.
Okay.
So it was just odd to see like he would be walking around the house and we would sometimes, during the holidays, Sunday roll around, he'd go to church. He'd sit in the pulpit with the other pastors. He'd have the little white collar joint around his neck,
Mm-hmm.
and but right after church, he at the crib. He got a little E&J sitting in the glass, and he's smoking his little Virginia Slims, which, by the way, are some nasty ass cigarettes. I mean, all cigarettes are nasty, but Virginia Slims have like almost the worst smell that you would ever want to imagine.
Okay.
But that was his thing, so he just, it was a contradiction, because I just didn't think, and it is like, it wasn't until I got to like high school, I'm like, damn, I was like, wait a minute, he a preacher. Should he really be smoking cigarettes and drinking vodka? I mean, and I'm talking about drinking it straight. I ain't talking about with no
So
chaser.
he ain't new to this. He's true
Right,
to it.
right.
Okay.
But Uncle Sonny, I mean, but he always had a good word for you. He could quote the Bible left and right, but he just, he did his thing. He's just different. And I loved him to death, and when he passed, I was crushed. But I got so many jewels from him. As I got older, that was just something that I just laughed at. I was like, well, that's just Uncle Sonny. He'll give you that word on Sunday and Monday. Yeah, he's sitting at the card table, with a Virginia Slim and some E&J, and he was good. So yeah, that was one of the observations that I had. Just, family gatherings really reveal that sometimes we can have family members who are walking contradictions.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because, like, I know Christians have different views on alcohol,
Right.
even pastors. So like that part I'm like, but this sounds like I'm being so judgmental, and I'm not at all, but I'm just like, that's one that's a little different. Like,
It is. It was different,
that
but
one's a little different.
I think the thing that I learned was that, no matter what somebody does for a living, if they're in the pulpit or whatever, at the end of the day, they're human.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have flaws, and I've listened to you long enough. I knew you grew up in the church just like I did. So it's like, we were taught one thing, but we also understand too that some of the things that we were taught growing up, particularly in the church, was that, you're supposed to be this way and that way, but ultimately we're human. So we're flawed to begin with. And how do we sin? In thought, word, and deed. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was in the pulpit looking at big butts. I honestly, I don't know how he could be in church and not look at big butts. Because when I was little, I was doing the same thing. But that's beside the point.
Right.
But I didn't judge him for it. I loved him even more for it. But it's just something that me and my cousins, when we got older, and because you know how it is, and you kind of touched on some of your podcasts, as you get older, particularly with our parents and our aunts and uncles and stuff like that, the people that we grew up as, the people who are role models in our lives, we begin to see them for who they are, and not, they come off this pedestal.
Yeah.
And you just, and I remember you talking, about your father and some of the things that he had done and said over time, and you realize he's a man, like he's the man for me, or whatever, the man who helped bring me into this world, but he's a flawed character. And so that's the way I just viewed Uncle Sonny. He just, but I could have dealt with the E&J. Those Virginia Slims is nasty as hell. But that's beside the point.
I used to smoke cigarettes from
what?
Started when I was 18. So random. Stopped when I was 28. But I smoked Newports or Pools. I've never ever smoked Virginia Slims.
Newports they just seem like the hoodest ass cigarettes. I can't picture you smoking Newports. I can't picture you smoking
Newport shorts, Newport 100s, depending on what was going on in my life.
Wow.
I liked the 100s because you could smoke half, and so I could make it last longer. Yeah, and now when I think about it, there's a lot of stuff in my life that people can never, I can't believe you used to.
Right.
Even I, though, with cigarettes, because I can't stand the smell of cigarettes. It's so disgusting, and I feel like it's worse when you used to smoke and then you stop. That's what I've heard anyway. But yeah, but man, what I will say is I did not gain weight until I stopped smoking cigarettes. So they were doing something.
A lot of people say that.
You know what I mean?
A lot of people say that.
A lot of people say that. but not really, because ultimately it was just an unhealthy way to deal with my stress. And
Right.
then you go to eating, or you go to, other stuff. And I've since learned better ways to manage, thank God. But yeah, yeah. All
Try to
right.
keep you smoking Newports. That's funny.
Yeah, I was for real about it, and it's so disgusting. Like, I wouldn't even date anyone that smokes really anything at this point, just because I don't like the smell of any of that stuff. All right, so my next one is, when you come around, people always try to figure out, this is again from the article, and
Hmm.
then the rest are from my personal list, which now my mom is back, so remember I gave you the disclaimer. But asking either when you're going to get into a relationship, if you're single, or if you're in a relationship, they ask you when you're going to get married, or if you're with somebody or whatever, when are you going to have kids? Why
Hmm.
are y'all, whoever y'all may be, trying to move people to the next? First of all, listen, life is hard enough by itself, than to add an entire another either adult in a relationship, but then to add some kids, like, being a parent is not this cute, oh, the cute little baby. Like, you don't know what that child's gonna be like
Mm-mm.
as a kid, as a hell, as a baby. You just
Right.
don't know if they're not gonna sleep at night. You don't know what teenage years are gonna, like, you just don't know. Stop trying to rush people. Like, worry about yourself, Aunt Martha, or Uncle Fred, or whoever, because it's
Right.
usually somebody older that feels
Hmm.
like they know what you should be doing with your life because of their life. But we're all different, and we all have different journeys that we have to go through. Now, that I have not experienced firsthand, thank God my family doesn't do stuff like that. But you hear about it a lot. You see a lot of videos about it. It's something that I know. Somebody, actually, I was just texting earlier today. She's been with her boyfriend, and she's young. She's been with her boyfriend since like freshman year of high school, I think,
Okay.
and she's a senior in college. And so, yeah, they've been together a while, but really, in the grand scheme of things, you're babies. Like, you don't
Facts.
even fully, your brain is not even fully developed. And she was like, people are asking her, when are we going to get married? And I'm like,
Mm.
nah. I mean, I get it because y'all have been together for so long, but that doesn't mean you're gonna stay together.
Right.
You never know. So yeah, y'all stay out people's business. Like, worry about yourself.
Right. I agree. I've seen that happen. That didn't really happen in my family. I think. Well, I do remember one of my wife's family members asking us because we dated in college, and
Mm.
so and we've been married now 22 years. So
Hold on, don't. Yes, 20 years. Let's get it.
yeah, so but I do remember, because his, what brought up the conversation was at that particular time we were living together.
Mm.
So they were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, y'all shacking up? Y'all gonna get married?" And I'm like, "Bro, I just walked in the house. Why you asking me that?"
And then what if you're not? Just, I mean, I don't know. Like, what if
Yeah,
you're not on that, or y'all aren't on the same page with that,
right,
and you just
right.
have it, like, just mind your
Yeah,
business.
and then, and even the thing that you mentioned about kids, that is a very intrusive question. And because what if a couple is together and they're trying to have kids and can't?
Mm, mm-hmm.
You don't want. Yeah, that's just nasty. I wouldn't do that to anybody. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's you hit the nail on the head. I've heard horror stories and read horror stories about, family members asking dumb questions like that, but that's crazy.
Now, one year I did jokingly ask, because I asked my sister in law, so they have now four daughters,
Okay.
but they had three at the time. And I think I had said, are you guys going to keep trying for a boy? So, like, it's not, oh, I'm just just asking. And she said, it's so funny because she said, no, we're done. And then I want to say, like, 2 months later, we got a yeah, we just found out we're pregnant text. And so yeah, like I
We
have,
used to get that question all the time because our first three children were sons.
oh yeah.
And so, oh, y'all gonna try for the girl? Like, no, we're not trying for a girl. We're done. We were like, we're done. We're done.
Mm, so you
Next thing you
thought.
know, here come that little girl.
Yep.
Then we were really done.
Oh, I bet. 22 and 10.
Yeah,
I could not
yeah.
imagine.
So yeah, but it's been a blessing. But nah, you're right. That's just something. That's very intrusive. I don't think anybody should ask questions like that because you
Us,
never know what people are doing.
especially the kid one, because that is
Hmm.
like, because I had all three of my kids so young, and I really wasn't trying to have kids. Here they are, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like I was working towards it and whatever. I
Right,
mean, I guess technically I was, but not like
right,
intentionally.
right.
But now I'm older and I see so many people like struggling with fertility issues and
Hmm.
all this stuff. I never realized how, I guess, blessed I am to be able to have just been able to just have kids
Same.
easily. And so there are people, there is someone I could think of in particular that, and she actually older than you and never could have kids, and like desperately wanted to have kids. And so yeah, y'all just, I mean, if you just mind your
Right.
business, like if they don't invite you into most things, you will be good
Hmm.
in life. Like
Yep.
just apply
And
that to life.
eventually, I think eventually people will tell you what the
Yeah.
situation is. If you allow them the opportunity to do so, they'll tell you what the
Mhm.
situation is.
Mhm.
In a conversation.
Yep.
Um, my next one observation was strictly deals with Christmas. Um, this is for those who have, because I find that this happens a lot with people who don't have kids. Um, don't buy kids battery operated toys. Don't buy them noisy toys, and also
Mm.
don't buy them battery operated toys. Don't buy them noisy toys because what happens is the family members buy Tamara's kids the noisy toys, and then the family member goes home, and Tamara has to go
Mhm.
home with her child with this noisy
Mhm.
ass toy.
Mhm.
But battery operated toys only last and only in the child's repertoire for as long as the batteries are working.
Right.
Because once the batteries stop working, and that's usually somewhere around Christmas Day, maybe the day after Christmas, uh, the toy is no good. I mean,
Yep.
I've had remote control cars, I've had remote control helicopters, everything that evolves around having batteries. Once the battery die, the child loses interest. So,
Mhm.
FYI, it's not a good idea to buy a child anything battery operated. I mean, at this point in this day and technology, we're a little bit older than most people that
Yeah.
we came from that era where you had to have a battery. Now you just
Mhm.
plug stuff up. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was an observation I had for Christmas. You see that at family gatherings. So there's always somebody who will buy a child a battery operated toy, and it's the worst idea.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So it is a tradition that I think it is a generational curse that might go back to Adam and Eve. I don't even know. But not eating on time. I don't understand why
Oh
you, in
man.
your mind, in your heart of hearts, especially when you're not new to this. So, my first Thanksgiving, I didn't really know how long everything was gonna take. So I didn't, and nobody was coming over. It was just me and my kids. And so I just cooked. And hey, when it's
Hmm.
done, and y'all can just eat other stuff in the meanwhile. But then the first one that I hosted, by then I kind of mastered things or try to become more efficient at things the next time I do it. So when I said we are going to eat at 5 o'clock, dinner was ready at 5 o'clock. I don't understand, like, and you know what's crazy is one year, because it is tradition that it just doesn't happen
Hmm.
no matter who hosts, which is so funny because one year I was convinced because again, I'm protecting people's identities.
Right.
So I was convinced that we were going to eat on time because of who was hosting, and I vouched for them to my kids. Like, no, so and so's hosting because it was always on time. Any
Hmm.
other meal or anything we've ever had at their house has always been on time, and it was still late. So there's just something about the holiday that is like it's a generational curse that we need to pray against. We need to
Hmm.
plead the blood of Jesus right
Right.
now. But there was one year that, because again, it's been tradition that it's never been on time, and somebody gave a time, and I was just like, yeah, all right. And so I was still at home,
Hmm.
not even dressed,
Wow.
because it'd be like, not, oh, we're 10, 15 minutes late. It's always hours later. So I
Right.
wasn't even dressed. And then I get the call, oh yeah, we're about to eat. Are you coming? What? We're on time? Like, oh, okay, let me hurry up and get dressed because I
Wow.
wasn't even dressed because that's how much faith I had in things being on
Mm.
time. And I don't understand why it's not just one family, it's everyone
Everybody.
across. I don't know if white people experience it. I don't know
That's
because
a
I
good
don't see
question.
them.
I'm not sure.
If you're white and you listening to this, let me know, tweet at me or text me or whatever. I know I got
Right.
some non-black listeners. Let me
Right.
know if like that has been your experience, cuz I know black people, we share this oppression in our
Hmm.
community.
Yep, we sure do.
But I just, so I know it's not just like one family. It's just, yeah.
Nah, you're right. And it even as I was listening to you, I started thinking about it. Like in my family, I growing up, like I don't think we had like a set time. Like I just think it was always, well, hey, we're eating around 4 or we're eating around 5, like
Mhm.
that. And it was just weird because it's like when I started dating my wife and then we got married and everything like that, her family, they eat at a specific time. If they say we're eating at 3, I'm talking about the prayers up at 3:01, and we sitting
Wow.
down at, I mean, like it is, and they are
The
never,
privilege of
they
her
are,
life. Wow.
yes, they are never off schedule. It's
Mm,
always on time. So if they, whatever time they tell you, it's on that time. And like
mm.
this year was a little bit different because, like I said, we went to LA for Thanksgiving. We were out there for a week, did Disneyland and the whole nine. And so we ended up eating dinner at one of my wife's friends, or one of her childhood friends, because she's from LA, one of her childhood friends' house. And so I'm like, okay, well, what time we eating? Because I have this thing about Thanksgiving. I love to eat, at Thanksgiving or whatever, but I don't eat anything. I don't eat any breakfast or anything. So by the
Mm.
time that I'm eating dinner, I'm like starving.
Mhm.
So we wake up Thanksgiving Day, and I ate maybe some chips or something like that. And again, so I'm coming from out of town, and I'm eating with these people that I know by name. I don't really, I met a couple of them before, but I don't, you don't want to go to someone's house and not eat, right? So as I was asking my wife, she was like, "Well, yeah, they said that they're gonna eat at 4." And now keep in mind, my body and my stomach is still on East Coast time.
Mm. Yeah,
So
yeah.
when she said 4, I'm thinking 4, but really that meant 7 to me. So I'm like, it's 7. So that means we're eating at 7 o'clock, and all I've had all day is chips. And then when it got to about, I don't know, like 2 o'clock, I was like, damn, I should eat something. I was like, no, I don't want to, because if I eat something, I'm gonna spoil my appetite and I won't eat. And they'll probably think I'm a snob or something like that. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I just, so yeah, I ended up not eating anything until Thanksgiving dinner. And then it got pushed back. Oh yeah, well we almost done. It's looking like 5 o'clock. I'm like,
Oh,
like
it's
it's like
looking
8.
like, I hate
Right.
phrase.
So now it's 8 o'clock, and my stomach is cussing me out.
Mm.
But the food was great, and I ate all the food, so it was all good. But
Well,
you're
that
you're
was
right.
my question. Was it good?
Oh,
Because
it was,
that that
yeah.
that was a risk.
It
You
it
ain't never been
was.
there?
It
Wow.
was, Tamara. It
Yeah.
was. But I learned, just maybe just take something, just kind of, if that situation happens again, just nibble on something or like that. Because I wouldn't want to come, like if you invited me to Thanksgiving dinner, I want to eat everything that you prepare for me. So I don't want to, I would rather come to your house hungry than
Right.
opposed to, having something on my stomach and like, I'll just get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Then you're going to look at me like I'm crazy. So, but yeah, you're right. I'm definitely spoiled by my wife's side of the family because they eat on time every year. This year at Christmas dinner, we'll eat at my mother-in-law's house, and dinner will be on the table at 3:00. No questions asked.
Okay,
And
so
you can play around if you want to.
I gotta add that to my prayer for my future. Is that needs to be how they grew up
Yes,
because I need that
yes,
privilege.
yes. And because, like I said, I never thought about it in my house. Growing up, my mom. I mean, they would always say, "Yeah, we're gonna eat around 4 or eat around two or three," and it was just, I wasn't really concerned about the time. But yeah, I'm very thankful and blessed that these
Man,
black folk eat on
you
time.
did good, man.
And the food is always good, so you never hear me
Man,
complaining.
there's that too, cause man, woo.
The other observation I had, and this is a personal one. When you're having family gatherings, never leave stuff around. More specifically, never leave hair in the sink.
What?
We had a huge, well, I can't say we. My family had a huge fight because, and they're gonna kill me for telling the story, but I'll tell it anyway. My cousin cut his hair, and you cut your hair, whatever. He's trying to get fresh for Thanksgiving, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, of course.
And so he cut his hair, but I think he had like this mat or something that he put over the sink, and he's in the mirror, whatever. But he had left like some hair chips in the sink, and somebody saw the hair chips and like, ooh, like we can't have hair chips. We're gonna have even more family coming over. You can't leave hair chips in the sink. And so somebody was like, well, hey, who left his hair in the sink? It was like, oh, well, he did it. And it was like, well, you shouldn't do that. And then he said something back like, hey, it was just hair. All you had to do is sweep it up. And it's like, why should I sweep up your hair? And he's just like, so we went back and forth. And it became a huge fight about some damn hair. So word to the wise, do not leave hair in the sink. Eventually the family squashed the beef, but that Thanksgiving was tense. You hear me? I mean, Tamara, it was tense.
I believe it.
Because it went from, how arguments go.
Oh, yeah.
It went from being about the hair to a whole bunch of other stuff. So, yeah, when you're having family gatherings, don't leave hair in the sink.
So, on that note, although this was not a family member at all that did this, so we need to put that out there.
Put it out there.
But when you are inviting people to your house to any holiday, and I get it that different people have different cleaning standards, but I grew up like my mom is. I am a product of her, so her house is the type of house that you could pop up and you can just pop up and it's not gonna look like unpresentable. That's how I am too. Like you could don't pop up unannounced, but you could pop up unannounced and it would be presentable. Like I don't have to do deep cleaning because I can't function in mess, So I feel like if you should put it upon yourself to want to host any type of gathering, I think that your house should be clean.
Fact.
And I remember at one point in my life, and I'm going to be vague like this because I'm trying to conceal the identity. But I remember there was a point in my life where I was with someone. I went to someone's
in a minute,
house.
you're gonna tell the truth.
Yeah. So I'm trying to. I went somewhere with someone on some holiday, right? And I remember looking around at it, and just thinking like, did they know we were coming over? Because their house just wasn't clean. Like, because I also grew up, and I'm that way too, where And then when you have company coming over, especially for holidays, then you do above and beyond.
Yes.
So, yeah, you could pop up at my house whenever, but if I know people are coming over, it's almost like you make it look like nobody lives in the house. Like it needs to smell clean and
Spotless.
everything, which I'm kind of that way just in general. I'd rather it smell good than smell like
Mhm.
nothing even. So I just remember looking around thinking like, did they know we were coming? Cause like they didn't even clean up. The food also, of course, was not ready on time, but I just remember I had got this new outfit
Uh-oh.
and part of it was yellow. And so I just remember being in a room in the house and not even really feeling comfortable sitting down because I just felt like my new outfit was getting dirty. And so that should really just tell you like how to the point where like I was in a room and there was like worn undergarments just kind of
Ooh.
out. So like it was that just
Damn.
on a holiday. So like and you invited us over so you knew we didn't just pop up unannounced. Like this was planned. This wasn't even like a backup plan
Right.
where maybe we had other plans that
Right.
fell through and you didn't. No, you invited us. And yeah, so
Mm.
like if you're gonna have people come over again, everybody has different cleaning standards. I'm learning the older that I get. But I just feel like something like worn undergarments, like I mean that like I know common sense ain't common,
Right,
but
right.
that like why do you want us to see that?
Yeah, put your drawers away.
Yeah, like why I yeah, so yeah, so that's another one that
Okay.
is
I like how you danced around throwing
mhm.
somebody under the bus.
Cause that one what's funny is I will say this, I was not an adult when this happened
Oh wow.
and like later myself and so I didn't even want to be friends with the person somebody because I didn't even want to be friends with them because of that. Like because your
Oh.
house was nasty,
Right.
I didn't want to be friends with. Now, I
Understood.
did end up becoming friends with that person, but like I didn't want to at that point in my life and that was why. And I never told them. So like that's why I danced around it cuz you never know who is
Facts.
watching, who is
Facts.
listening. This is up there forever. This is
Forever.
my legacy I'm leaving behind for my kids. I think about it when I'm gone, they'll have however many years of videos and audio to kind of just listen to. But in case anybody happens to just come across this, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Mm.
cleanliness is next to godliness, is what they
Mm.
say. So they was not living for
Wow.
the Lord in that moment
One
at
step
all.
close to hell.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
What else I got? Oh, family gatherings. One another observation that I had is that, obviously when we're talking about the holidays, more specifically, we're talking about Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Mhm.
Before COVID, we would spend a lot of time in shopping malls, Black Friday, the whole nine.
Mhm.
Um, one observation I would have is that sometimes it's not smart to shop with family.
Ooh.
Um, one, because sometimes you have family members that will go shopping and they want to spend all day at the mall.
Yeah.
Of course, now time's a little bit easier because you can do it online or whatever the case may be. But
Mhm.
sometimes you have family members that want to stay in the mall all day, and to be honest, that's draining in and of itself. Well, we
Mhm.
came to fellowship and be together. I don't necessarily want to be in the mall all day. And then
Mhm.
you have those other family members who go shopping with you and don't have no damn money.
Mm. Yep.
So, you know, if I'm shopping and I am purchasing things and you see something that you like, naturally you're gonna ask, hey, can you get this? Okay, well, are you gonna pay me back? Or
That's bold because wow.
yeah, fortunately, it's never happened to me. Because the answer would be no.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Word to the wise: don't go shopping with family. It's just not unless it's someone that you have a rapport with. As far as that spending that kind of time, as far as shopping and everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that kind of rapport with them, don't do that because, like I said, it's either one or the other. Either they shop too long or they don't have any money, and window shopping becomes very it becomes an issue for them because after a while, I mean, if I got the money and you don't have any money and we're shopping, you're gonna want to go home because
Mm-hmm.
spending 2 or 3 hours in a mall when you don't have any money just doesn't make a lot of sense to most people. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just take heed to that advice. That was an observation that I had. Don't shop with family.
Mm. Okay, let's see where I want to go with this. Because these last few. Okay, so this one is kind of like a happy memory, so I'll go
Okay.
here. And this isn't even necessarily holiday related, but it
Okay.
is a celebration, like um a family get together though. So I remember, so my granny is, so I'm 41, so she's 82.
Okay.
She's 41 years older than me. I just realized how to do the math. It's how I figure out how old my mom is I know she's 23 years older than me. So that's the only way I know, oh, my mom is this. It all surrounded around me for them,
Right.
But I remember for her 75th birthday, she had this big party. So like she had told all of us well in advance, this is what I'm doing and you better be here. And mind you, we don't live in New Jersey. My auntie and her kids, cuz she has 3 kids, my mom has 4 kids, and I have kids. One of my brothers and his wife have kids. So like none of us live there, but the expectation is I'm having this 75th birthday
And
party,
everybody needs to
so
be
you
there.
need to be here. You need to do what you need to do to make it happen. And so we all went out there. And I mean, like, my granny is goals when I get her age. You know what I'm saying? Like, prior to the pandemic, every other year she was going on a cruise.
Mm.
She drives here when she comes here. So, like, she still, at the age of 82, was just here. Was it this year? I don't know that it might have been this year. She drives wherever she goes.
Okay.
Actually, we all went to Branson for my cousin's college graduation. So, and like that's a big thing in our family too. Whenever anyone graduates, we are all there. We are expected to be there out of like my mom and her kids and my auntie and her kids, or we are disowned. And you need to have a valid reason why you cannot be there to celebrate the graduation. And like multiple people have graduated from college. So it's like the high school and the college expectations, you better be there. So we all went out there for her 75th birthday. She rented a venue, had it
Okay.
catered. Like, yeah, she was doing it big. And I just remember her and my auntie and my mom, like we all stayed at the house at her house, but they didn't. They got a hotel and they went and whatever. So then I remember it was me, my siblings, my cousins, my kids. I think at that point, my brother and his wife might have only had just their oldest daughter. And I just remember all of us being there, being grown, being up, living our best life. And I was just like, wow, we really are grown out here. Like, because, we don't always get together.
Right.
And so then when you think about like when you used to be little and it'd be like, oh, go to bed. And we're up playing cards, laughing, eating. Were we drinking? Might have been on that too. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And
Mm-hmm.
we definitely were on that at my cousin's college graduation. I mean, yeah, up playing cards, drink. Matter of fact, my granny had actually brought like bottles of wine. Trying to tell you, she is goals when I get to
Wow.
her age. Just we just living our best lives. But yeah, and I just remember thinking like, man, we're grown. And it's just kind of dope when you cross over. As much as we're talking about all the dysfunction, but it's cool when you have that moment where like you're the adult
Facts.
with your children. So like I sit at the adult table. Like if there's a kids table, even though technically my kids are all adults, they are at that table
Hmm.
in comparison of the order of the hierarchy of the
Right, right,
family.
right,
You know what
right,
I mean?
right.
So it's just cool that once you become grown, you're like, man, I'm grown, and I could drink, and I don't have to, yeah, let me get some more wine. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Let me get some more whatever else we had, or just whatever. So yeah, that's a dope memory from her 75th, and I remember her talking about wanting to have something for her 80th birthday because like once you get up there you gotta celebrate as much
Oh,
as
no
possible,
question.
and
No
she's
question.
already outlived both of her parents like when they passed away at the ages that they were. And so we couldn't though because I'm pretty sure, well no, the pandemic hadn't started yet, but something happened to where she didn't, and then now it's the pandemic. So you're not, people aren't necessarily trying to have these huge
Right,
gatherings. Some
right.
people never cared about what was going on.
Facts.
My granny ain't one of them people. You know what
Right.
I mean? So yeah, that was like that's probably the only good memory. Well, that's not dysfunctional.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my next one actually piggybacks off of something you said. I have written down here. Family gatherings. One of the things that one observation that I always had is that sometimes weed and wine are necessary.
Mm.
Uh, Now, mean, this is coming from someone who's never smoked weed before, but I understand and recognize the fact that sometimes weed and wine are necessary because, you know, particularly for those who are stressed. And
Mhm.
let's be real. A lot of times the holidays bring on an enormous amount of stress.
Mhm.
Can you get your son a GI Joe with a kung fu grip? Can you get your daughter some skates? Can you get your little brother a super soaker? Can you
Mhm.
get the Atari 2600? Can you get
Man, you on some
a
old
bike?
school stuff.
can, can you get your cousin a bike? And it's like, okay, how am I going to do all of this and still pay the bills and still make sure that we have food on the table and all of that other stuff? So some people need that. They need that glass of wine, or they need to you go outside with your cousin, you walk around the block, and
Yeah,
you
it's
come
always
back.
the cousin.
Always the cousin, you come back eyes redder than the stop sign, that type of
Mhm.
stuff. And so sometimes that's necessary. And so
Mhm.
I've always been in a position where I'm very. I wouldn't even. I couldn't even call myself a social drink. I drink from time to time, but it's few and far between. But I do recognize the fact that sometimes, particularly when you get with family, it's
Mhm.
necessary. So weed and wine necessary.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to when I was talking about pre-gaming earlier
Yes.
to
Oh,
to
I know.
mentally and emotionally and whatever prepare. I
You
have
got to.
been on both sides of those spectrums, depending on what part of, my life I was in and whatever. I have
Mm-hmm.
had to make sure I come under either of those circumstances
Mm-hmm.
just to even just when you have it where you really, like you said in the beginning, sometimes you don't like, even if it's just the dynamics of like maybe a relationship with this person, just y'all two is a certain way, but then when you get around everybody else, maybe they act different, or
Oh.
you know what I'm saying,
Mm.
and
Woo.
that's coming, and you still want to go because you want to see the other people, but you don't want to deal with this, and then you don't want to be the one to like call people out because that would be me. So you just want to be numb to it and be chill, You
Right.
got a pregame.
You
I've
got
been
to.
there.
You got
Yes,
to.
I
If
have
not, somebody might
been.
get cussed out.
And then it's like, and then everybody's looking at you like you're the bad guy because you reacted to how you were being provoked. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Nobody sees what they were doing.
Of course.
So yeah, it is absolutely definitely necessary.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
sometimes, and yeah. But I'm gonna tell you what's not necessary.
What's that?
You always have that one or more people that when they pray over the food, they start adding all this extra stuff that don't got
Mm.
nothing to do with the food. They start praying for people's salvation, which yes, we want people to be saved. They start praying for people that ain't there, talking about, and we forgive so and so for not showing up, this is almost verbatim some
Right.
things I've heard from whoever, whenever, wherever.
Hmm.
This is based on a true story. We don't need all that. Can you just,
Pray over the food.
Lord, thank you for this food. Let it be nourishing to our body. In Jesus' name, amen. Bam.
That's it.
Folks is hungry, especially when you had the audacity to not be on time. So you're going to not be on time, and then you're going to make it take longer when you know we're hungry because you want to, like, if you need to reconnect with God, like, have your quiet time with Him on your own. You know what I'm saying? This is not the time for you to rededicate your life to the Lord or whatever is going on
Right.
to why you need to have these long drawn out prayers. And I even remember outside of family gathering, went to lunch with somebody and they're, when you go out, when somebody's a Christian, it's just like somebody feels like they have to pray over the food. And if I'm honest, which is probably bad, I don't always think to pray over my food before I eat. Now, do I thank God for things
Of
just
course.
in my quiet time with Him? Yeah. And so that includes everything
Of course.
within that day, which includes the food that I'm going to eat. And I spend quiet time with Him intentionally pretty much every day. So then when I sit down to eat, I just eat. You know what I mean? Am I grateful for the food? Yes, but I've already thanked Him for the money to buy the groceries
Hmm.
for the food. You know what I'm saying? Just because we both Christians and we going out to lunch, that don't mean you gotta do this ultra saved, show me how much you love the Lord prayer.
Oh
Like,
man.
I'm hungry and I
Right.
like and so at family gatherings, especially if somebody's like a pastor or something, Lord have mercy. Because that's always the one
Yeah. They
they
they get
want.
they yeah.
Yeah, they gotta be the one to pray. And like, we don't need a sermon right now, sir.
Oh
Like,
man.
or madam, or whatever. Like, we just need to eat. We
Right.
hungry. So yeah,
I
that's okay. Y'all can
it's
stop all
funny you
that.
mentioned that because I remember I can't it had to be my family, but I can't remember what was said, but it was like the prayer was going on and whoever did the prayer, it was like they sneaked this somebody in the family. Like I'm like, damn, how you gonna sneak this right? I mean, like you just
Mm-hmm.
dissing somebody during we just prayed it such and such get their life together. I'm like,
Yep.
wait a minute.
I promise you. Yes. Yes.
Oh man, that is so funny.
And you know what? Honestly, a situation like that popping in my head is what sparked the idea for this episode now that I think about it.
Wow.
Because that's one of my biggest not pet peeves, because it's not like I'd be mad, but that's one of my, it's like I'm starving
Hmm.
and like, what are we
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, let's eat. We don't have to do all this talking. Let's
Mm-mm.
just eat. Let's eat.
Yep.
Another observation. Holiday gatherings. Um, don't yell at other people's kids.
Ooh.
Uh, and the reason why I say that is because sometimes, for some people, they take it a step too far,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not you, or maybe they're not used to their kids being yelled at, and maybe the kid's not used to being yelled at.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people come from the timeout era.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, Tamara, but I'm not from the timeout era.
No, absolutely not at all. Nope.
We got spankings or whoopings or
Yep.
whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
But you
Both
know,
of them.
so right. So the days of families getting together, sometimes kids can run in the house or slam the doors or do whatever, and naturally you want to protect your stuff, particularly if it's at your house, so and you don't want to keep repeating yourself, but especially if a child is doing something they shouldn't be doing. But yelling at kids, don't yell at people's kids. Even if they're not your kids, don't yell at them. Pull the person whose kids that are acting up or whatever the case may be, pull them to the side. But the easiest way to start a family argument is to yell at somebody else's kid. Like I don't. I have two great nephews and two great nieces, and I don't yell at. I mean, I don't do much yelling anyway. But even when they were smaller, if I wanted to, I still wouldn't yell at them. You know what I mean? Like it's just,
Yeah.
and every child doesn't react to yet, particularly like I said, if their parents don't yell at them, you all of a sudden just start yelling, or even worse, start cussing.
Mm.
You about to spoil the whole holiday right now. So yeah, that's one observation I had. Yeah, don't yell at other people's kids. Correct them, pull them to the side if need be. If not, let the parent talk to them, but don't yell.
And even too, because even with the correcting, if you really think about it, how often do you see this child? If
Right.
you only see them once a year, once every other year, you may want to just talk to their parent, unless it's
Mm-hmm.
something like detrimental, like they're about to run in the street. Okay, you might need to just act quickly. But
Right.
if it's something that you can just have their parents address it, I feel like that's better because you don't have a relationship with this child. And so then it's like, then their only memories of you are you nagging or you getting on them or you whatever. And I'm trying to think how, I don't know if I can mask this. So I will just say that from what I heard I worked with youth. We'll make it seem, we'll
Right.
just
Right.
make it seem like it's whatever. It makes you not want to go around family if you feel like they're only picking at you and they don't really make any other effort to like just have conversation with you or interact with you like outside of that. And then if you come and then you're just getting on them, I just think you want to be careful with that because again, it should be about building relationship. And just because you are wherever you're at in the family hierarchy, so just because you're the auntie, the uncle, whatever, it doesn't, like, to the kid that doesn't mean anything. And then when they become an adult, then it becomes this, well, I don't want to go around. And then that's when you have the people that got a pregame before they come around just so that they don't snap on you
Mm-hmm.
because now they're old enough to understand how toxic it is or whatever. So yeah, don't, absolutely do not do that. Like,
Facts. Facts.
okay, so you have two left, right?
Now I
Or
got one left.
one? Okay, so I'm just, yeah, so you went first. So my second to last one, okay? So this Thanksgiving, as I said earlier, my son asked if his roommate could come over because for Thanksgiving. So I asked my brother because I wasn't hosting. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, let me ask them first. If it was my house, I would just say yes, but whatever. They were cool with it. Because I think like this, I was like, okay, do you want him to bring anything? They said no. Okay, so then when I went back to my son, I'm like, yep, he can go ahead and come. And then because my kids are not, he's actually older than my son. So my kids are not children. So he
Right.
said, well, I can bring, something or whatever to do. And I was like, nope, don't even worry about it. They said they got it. And he was like, okay, cool. Now, here's the lesson from this. Number one, if you are invited somewhere, don't just show up without offering to bring something. I don't care if it's paper plates, pop, napkins, chips, them Hawaiian rolls or whatever, some bread. something, right? And if you don't have the money, because I had to really, like, I have a whole little paragraph in my notes for this section. Have that conversation with whoever is in, you're inviting, or whoever has invited you, especially if you're not family. I
Mm-hmm.
don't go to anyone's anything. I don't care if they've invited me to a birthday party and people can vouch. I will say, do you need me to bring anything? And if I don't have like a ton of money, I will say, do you want me to bring drinks? So I'll kind of set the precedent for what I know is what's in my budget. That way,
Right.
if you say something I can't afford, we don't have to go through that. So I'm like, oh, you want me to bring some pop, or you want me to bring some paper plates, or because that's what I can afford. But my point is, especially if you're an adult, paper plates, napkins, you can never go wrong with napkins, or I'd say napkins. And the reason why I say that is because, like, at my mom's house or my family, yep, we will use nice. That's when you
Same.
get the good
Same.
plates and
Yep.
the good cups and the good silverware, even. So we're not going to use paper plates, plastic forks and all that. So that's why I said napkins. Because even if they use because I think my mom has even had the cloth, or my granny, somewhere I've been, we've had the cloth. You still will use the paper napkins if you
Mm-hmm.
can. You know what I'm saying? Maybe to clean up something,
Right.
just to like show your appreciation that you didn't have to do all that. Because
Right.
this year, like I said, my sister-in-law and my brother hosted. She did all the cooking. I didn't have to cook anything, and I was so grateful because I didn't have time to make anything. But we all were asked to bring something. So I brought what I was asked to bring. She actually came by to get like a pan or something for my mom. And I'm like, okay, well, while you're here, take this with you. So you already have it. And I was so grateful that I was able to just buy whatever. I did not have to cook, but I still bought something. You know what I mean? Now it's on behalf of my family because my kids are under my headship or whatever. So somebody from the family. But if you're just coming somewhere like by yourself, you know what I mean? Like, offer to do something.
Right.
Like, don't just show up trying to eat up everything and maybe even have the audacity to try to take some to go plates if you didn't contribute,
Right.
because food ain't cheap. Even
Mm-mm.
now, man, it's getting more expensive. But all the work that goes into it, like, man, some people start cooking on Sunday. You know what I mean? I definitely start the day before. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it's kind of like there is a lot of work and it puts a toll on your body too. Just standing all day, stirring, chopping, slicing, whatever. Like, it is a lot of work that goes into that. And man, be considerate. Like, bring some.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you make a great point. I mean, the thing that you said is offer.
Mm-hmm.
It don't take nothing to offer it. Now, if somebody
Right.
said, "Well, no, you don't have to bring anything," that's different. But
Mm-hmm.
at least offer it, because that way
Mm-hmm.
you can walk away saying, "Okay, well, yeah, he offered to bring this, or she offered to bring that." But to show up empty-handed and have not even offer, come on now,
Mm-hmm.
come on, come on. Yeah, this
Mm-hmm.
this is great. My last one, and again, mine were in no particular order. Um, Kind of piggybacks off of something you said a little earlier. Um, Games. When you're having family gatherings, uh, don't take the games personal.
Mm-hmm.
I understand, you was the spades champion in college or whatever the case was. You ran a bunch of dudes off the table, but you in my house and I bust your ass in spades. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal, and don't get mad and want to take your family home because we ran you off the card table. Same goes for video games. We playing Madden. I got 40 points in one quarter. Don't get mad and try to slam the joysticks because you can't afford to pay for them. And we're not about to fight, but if you break my stuff, we might fight. So don't take it personal. the one thing that I do know that is pretty common between black folk is that we're very, very, very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So if Tamra and let's say Autumn are playing spades and y'all beat me and Jay Boog,
Well,
y'all
J Boog actually doesn't know. She actually about to be so mad that but she said it on Twitter. She don't actually know how to play spades.
oh my gosh.
I know, and she's gonna listen to this, and I
No, no,
know.
no. She don't even have to. I'm gonna tweet as soon as we're done. I'm gonna tweet as
Oh,
soon as we're done.
yeah. All right.
Uh,
Even better. But yeah,
so
it wouldn't
for
be
that
her.
example,
Maybe Chris,
okay,
maybe
Chris.
Audrey,
So
somebody else.
yeah, so y'all win. You know, you probably gonna talk shit.
Oh,
Probably.
first of all, a nigga like me, even if I'm losing, I'm gonna talk stuff because that's just like I'm not gonna just lose and be quiet. No, I'm gonna
Right.
talk stuff, win or lose. I'm
Right.
same energy.
Right. So don't take it personal. That's the observation that I have. Don't take it personal. It's never personal because even when you're talking trash, it's all in good fun. It's just
Yeah.
it's family fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I just know how we are as a people. Especially once we get a little ignorant oil up in us. Come on,
Mm-hmm.
man. It's gonna be feelings get a little hurt, and next thing you know, you get mad and you're not wanting to come back for Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner because you got run off the spades table and they talk shit to you. So nah, when you're playing games during the holidays with your family, don't take it personal because it's never
So
personal.
I have a question though.
Mm-hmm.
The Joker Deuce Ace in your world or no?
Joker, Deuce, Deuce.
Deuce. What's the other Deuce?
The Deuce of. I knew you were gonna ask me that.
Yeah, because that
Is it
wow.
Deuce of Spades, Deuce of Diamond? I
I
think
had a
that's how we
feeling
play.
you were gonna
Yeah,
say diamond. Okay,
yeah, Deuce
I've
of
never.
Diamond.
Okay, well, that's something I've never played. But if you would have said no, I hate playing spades with people who say no. What you mean no? Like what? And then a funny spades memory. Okay, I have to code this because they would not want me. So I just remember the first time, and that might have been the only time I have ever heard someone call somebody a nigga was when somebody reneged. But it was like the hierarchy level of how that went. Like they they shouldn't have necessarily said that. Like
Mm.
it, yeah, I'm trying to but it would be like if like I said it to my child or something, they would
Okay,
feel some type of way because like I was saying it down to them. So that's like how it
got you.
went
Okay.
as this person was just learning. So like when he said people are competitive, like it's like once you hit a certain age, if you haven't learned how to play spades, the reason why nobody wants to teach you, even though I did offer to teach J Boog and who was the other Country Boy, he also doesn't know how to play spades.
What?
Yeah, but I said I would teach them. I said that like at the beginning of my podcast journey and actually kind of forgot until just now. But that's okay because I ain't never seen them anyway. But there's a reason why people don't want to teach you
Hmm.
once you've hit a certain like age because it's like I learned when I was like
Yeah.
12 or maybe 13 max, but I feel like I was 12. So, I mean, I have what I'm 30, I mean, I'm 41, so I have over 20 plus almost
Hmm.
30 years in the game and then you my age and you don't know how to play and I don't want you on my team. You don't even know how to bid right. Like so it's a reason because
Man.
it gets real, and yeah, I don't ever say anything like disrespectful. I'm not gonna call you out your name or
Right.
nothing crazy like that.
No.
That's just not me,
I will
really. And
slap your table though. I will slap your table. I
yeah,
won't. I'm not gonna. Hey,
absolutely,
I'm not gonna get
paper
belligerent,
voice.
but I'm gonna slap
Yeah,
your table, and it's to the point now where like I I don't have any other partner but my wife. It's just me and Sharice. We play together, so I don't want any other partners. We got us a good run going here for these last 20 plus years.
Okay.
So now we're lifetime space partners. So I don't need no partners, but and I will challenge all comers
Hmm.
on the space table. Shout out to my boy King Germ of the Frocast. He and his wife, when they come to Atlanta, I've invited them over. They will get bus. We'll get their ass bus. My boy, Ty and Mia from the Tactless Know-It-Alls podcast. They live here in Atlanta, and we're friends outside of podcasting. And I never forget, this was like maybe but this was right before the pandemic. We went over their house. We went over for dinner, and we got to talking, and we recorded a podcast, and just having a good time. And it's like, hey, let's play some cards. Like, y'all don't want to play no cards now. Like, y'all don't want to play no cards. And we beat them. We beat them. And so me and Ty, we talking shit back and forth. Ty, when the game was over, Ty threw the cards in the trash.
Ooh.
He blamed the cards.
Okay.
I'm like, the cards ain't.
Because it's not his fault. Of course
Yes.
not. No, it got to be the
So
card.
I texted him the other day. I was like, "Hey man, I was like, we literally haven't seen each other since the pandemic." I said, "Man, we need to get together." I was like, he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "'Cause we owe you one on the card table." I was like, "Do I need to bring some cards?" He's like, "No, we'll buy a whole new pack." I'm like, "Why? What's with you and these cards?"
They don't
Like,
want no rig. They gonna say yo deck is rigged. This is you cheating.
so no, we don't. It's never personal, but you're right. It's we will talk trash. But I'm glad you told me that about J Book. I'm about to tweet her right now.
Go ahead. Yep. Yeah. No.
Wait a minute. J Book went to HBCU.
I was very. I'm shocked when anyone like our age now, like
I'm tweeting her right now. Right now.
Younger folks, okay. I mean, I guess, but like people around our age, I'm just like, wow, what type of? Because my mom taught me. She taught me and my. So like I'm the oldest, but I have a brother that's 3 years younger than me. So she taught us, and then I don't know if she taught my younger siblings. Now they're 12 and 15 years younger than me. So at that point, she might have been beyond her threshold of thinking about that, or I don't know. But I know she taught me, you know what I mean? So it's always mind boggling to me when anybody just doesn't know. Domino, that's another one that I'm slapping it down on your table. You know, and I'm going to say, Domino, like, y'all, I'm trying to stop cussing. I'm getting there. I don't even know what made me. Yeah, but I'm trying to stop.
That's good.
Trying to stop cussing, but and not just on the mic, like in general. I've noticed that I don't know why. Like when I do, I have this sudden awareness of this weird, like almost like I shouldn't be, or I don't know. So I'm trying to. Y'all pray for me, but
we will.
Speaking of church and prayer and the Lord.
Uh-oh.
This isn't necessarily a family holiday memory, but it is very traumatic. And this goes out if there's any pastors or anybody out here that leads a church and you're going to be preaching a message. Because some churches, like my church, will have a Christmas Eve service. So we don't have a Christmas Day service.
Okay.
We actually have like 3 services on Christmas Eve. One at now it's 1, 3, and 5. So on Christmas Eve we'll have a service, and then like the Sunday service will be an online thing only that they probably pre-recorded, and so they don't have to do Christmas Eve and then Christmas, like, or whatever that Sunday is back to back. But I remember one year we went to a church on Christmas morning.
Okay.
Now, as Kyle said earlier, generally on holidays, you save your stomach for the lunch or dinner, whatever time your family eats. You usually do not eat. Although that is another generational curse. As an honorable mention, I just think I'm not starving on the holidays anymore. I'm not. And when I hosted Thanksgiving and when I've cooked, I will the night before prepare like a breakfast casserole. I found this recipe, and then the first thing that I will do in the morning, in between, because the way I do my cooking is I will cook the breakfast casserole so that my kids here, get out of my face. I done fed you. You can eat this all day until dinner's ready. So I just feel like we ain't got to fast
Mm-hmm.
before Thanksgiving or Christmas. But this particular year, again, I was a minor. We are in church. And my issue at times, like I go to a non-denominational church
Okay.
now. I have since all of my adult life, and yeah, all of my adult life, and even towards the latter part of my teenage years, we started going to non-denominational churches, which basically, for those of y'all that don't know what that means, I don't know what the technical definition is, but there's like Baptist, there's Methodist, there's like different
Mm-hmm.
denominations, and non-denominational is just, it's not categorized within any of that.
Right.
But I've been to Baptist churches, and I love my people, and especially I love the music and all that, that good stuff. But what I'm not a fan of is that, like my church, I go to the 11 o'clock service. It is done by 12:30,
I know where you're going.
maybe 12:45 if something, like if there's baby dedications or communion or something extra, a little razzle dazzle
Right.
added. But I don't even think it. I'd say 12:40 is probably more accurate. You know what I mean? It has to be something really happen for it to just go beyond never 2 hours. Oh gosh, no.
Right.
But traditionally, in my experience, this is not all. My experience with the
Mm-hmm.
Baptist churches that I have gone to has been that if church starts at 10, 2, maybe you'll get out at 2. Maybe. That's so imagine, because I didn't always live for the Lord, y'all. Like, yes, I grew up in the church, but I didn't
Right.
really live a life that I was trying to live for God. That wasn't until I
You
was
spent some time in the
27.
world.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. Me and the world was like this. We was getting it. And it wasn't until I was 27 that I decided on my own, you know what, God, I'm going to try to see what it's like if I live for you. And here we are. Doesn't mean I'm perfect,
Mm-hmm.
no. But my whole point is that at the age of 15, I was nowhere near there. Like, that was
Right.
12 years before the decision. So I'm sitting in this service and I'm starving because again, you save your stomach for later, which I'm rebuking that in the name of Jesus. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not subscribing to that anymore. And the pastor's preaching and just going, and I'm stomach's just grumbling, and this man of God, this man of God,
Mm.
just call him a man of God. That ain't the word I'm thinking, but this man
Right.
of God had the audacity to say, I know you're hungry. Okay, so you acknowledge my need. You acknowledge that it is whatever time it was that you've been going for a while and that people are hungry. I know you're hungry, but you need to feed on the Lord. Sir,
What?
Jesus is the bread of life, yes, but I needed the bread of my stomach, some bacon, some
Right.
eggs,
Right. Right.
pancakes, hell, some cereal. It didn't even have to be like I needed something. And you are acknowledging my physical need. Even in the Bible, when people were hungry, when he did the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, Jesus didn't say,
Right.
I know you're hungry,
Right.
but you need to feed on my word. No, he said, these
Mm-mm.
people are hungry. Let's feed them. And he performed one of the miracles in the Bible. So if we're made in his image, sir, this is to all the pastors out there that may come across this message. If we are made in his image, and if Jesus cared about the physical hunger and the physical needs of the people in that moment on Mount, whatever mount they was they on Mount
Uh-huh.
Moriah, Mount Calvary?
I
They was on somebody's mount. I don't even know.
I don't know.
But what I do know is that Jesus fed them above and beyond what all the people needed so that they had stuff left over. So when I'm hungry, sir or madam, and you are preaching on a holiday, I need you to wrap it up. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I need you to not acknowledge my need and then say, but you need something else that's not going to satisfy that. I just, that is, and that ties into the people praying the long prayers. Like
Mm-mm.
we are spiritual beings, but we are
We
also
are.
physical beings. And when we're hungry, we're hungry. So,
Yeah, that's black people for you. I mean,
mhm,
like when you said when you started off by saying non-denominational, and you was like when you went to a Baptist church, I was like, I knew exactly where you were going because
bruh.
I grew up in an AME church,
Mm.
and it would be nothing for them to say. Uh, as I wrap this, as I close in my remarks, all that meant was like another 30 more minutes, bro. I'm just
Just
like,
be
yeah,
lying.
I just and I remember one time visiting a friend. He went to this white church, just regular. I guess a non-denominational church, and service started at 11 o'clock, and by 11:55 we were in the parking lot. Whole service in and out. I was like, yo, I might need to come back.
Hey, you know what? I used to go to a church that was an hour long, and that's when I knew that I didn't need, like, and they had everything:
Right.
praise and
Every.
worship, the
Mm-hmm.
message, even
Mm-hmm.
offering. Because my
Yep.
church doesn't do like the traditional past or whatever. You, if you're gonna give, you could do it online. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's these boxes where I don't even know because I do it online when I do it. But yeah, we don't even do that. But if you could get everything that I need and I don't feel like I'm lacking anything in an hour, then that's
Mm-hmm.
when I knew y'all been tricking me. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
the days of going to church at 11 o'clock and getting out at 1:30, sometimes 2 o'clock. Nah, bro, that ain't me. I can't
Nope.
do it. Can't
Nope.
do it. Yeah, but that was the church that I grew up in growing up. So, but I feel you. I feel you.
Hmm.
That's a great. That's a great. That's a great 10. To be honest, that's a great 10.
Yeah. Those were, and I'm surprised we didn't have more overlap, but I
Mm-hmm.
love when that happens because you never know. In case y'all didn't know, we didn't talk about this. I didn't even
Nope.
send him a itinerary, which I usually don't unless it's like something special. But I just was like, hey, let's do this, and it's always cool to see what people bring. So definitely you had some stuff that very valid, very valid, that I hadn't even thought of. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So that's the dope thing when you have these. That's why I like to have these types of things as discussions instead of me just giving a list, because I just feel like it's better that way. So y'all, we have come to the end of the episode. And so you guys definitely should check out Kyle's podcast. I'm gonna let him tell you about it, where you can follow him on social media and all that good stuff. And go.
Oh, before I do that, let me give you a funny update. I did tweet our friend Jay Boog,
Oh
and
Lord.
her response was, I asked, did she know how to play space? She said, I do not. LOL. Where are you discovering this information?
I told you, because she knows. Don't nobody just ask you that out of
And
nowhere.
so I replied, I said, a little bird told me. So I didn't throw you under the bus, but I'm sure her next tweet will probably be like, somebody told you something. She's probably,
Mhm.
she's probably thinking that Doug did. She probably wouldn't guess that you told me, but I'm gonna have to have a word with Jay. Jay should come on. She went to ground. But anyway, I
And
just
if
had
she don't figure it out when she listens to this episode, I'm either gonna get a tweet or in the group chat.
right,
Wow.
right. Don't worry, Jay. It's only a couple million people that's listening that know that you don't know how to play spades.
Oh, I
It's all
wish I
good.
had that many listeners, man.
But it's all good. But yeah, thanks again for having me on. You can check out the 12 Kyle podcast. Much like this podcast, it drops every Thursday at midnight without fail. From time to time this year, and probably something next year, I'll drop bonus episodes on Sunday. So it's very important that you subscribe. You can get it. It's all platforms. Now doing a YouTube channel as well, just like
Mhm,
you.
mhm.
And I talk about a little bit of everything. I don't want to say mostly. I talk a lot about music. Talk about life growing up, before the internet, dating, relationships, sex, Sometimes there'll be sports, but just a little bit for everybody. That's what I say. And the thing I always tell people about the podcast is that if you listen to one episode, you'll listen to another one and
Mhm.
another one and another one. So check me out. Check me out. You can follow me on socials at 12 Kyle, the number 12KYLE.
I've always been wanting to ask you that. How did you come up with? You probably get asked this a lot because the way you laughed is like
Right.
people ask you a lot. How
I've
did
been
you
asked.
come up with, yeah, your podcast name?
Um, the long short story is my real name is Kyle. Um, Weird kind of name for a black kid born in 1972. But my
Mm.
mom had a white coworker. His name was Kyle, and she liked the name. So uh, and if you're watching, if you look over my shoulder, that's my
Oh,
jersey. I played football in college at South Carolina State University. It's a historically
oh,
black college university. I played from 1990. I played from 1991 to 1995, and that's the number that I wore, 12. So when
oh.
I got into social media, I didn't. I had a blog. Well, I still have a blog, but
Oh, you write too?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. You know,
okay, okay.
I write. I don't write as much as I probably because the 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 writing turned into tweets, and you know how that go. You have a
Yeah.
blog. So yeah, I still write from time to time. I haven't written anything on the blog, but the blog is called the 12th Planet. And but when I got on the social media, I didn't have a name. So my homegirl, she was like, just be 12 Kyle. And I was like, okay. So I just ran
Mm.
with it like that. But no, I've been asked that quite a bit. So yeah, that's why I started laughing. But I remember one young lady on Twitter, she said, so is your real name Kyle? I was like, yeah, it is. It's on my birth certificate. Yeah, Kyle. And I didn't know any black people named Kyle until I got to college.
I have known of one,
See, yeah.
and I didn't even know him personally. No,
when
that's
I
why I
got
said known of.
Yeah, when I got to college, there were 3 Kyles on a black college campus. Nonetheless, it was a guy named Kyle, he was from New Jersey, and a girl named Kyle, and me. So
Interesting.
yeah, so I was like, that's kind of dope. But yeah, that's how the name came about, and it's just been a 12 Kyle podcast. I'm going on year number 7 of the podcast, so been
Wow.
at it for a while, and it's been fun. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it much like you. You know, it's relaxing to me. It doesn't feel like work or anything like that, and it's
Mm-mm.
something I enjoy doing. And I enjoy the feedback, but I think the biggest thing for me is much like you do on your podcast. I do it for me, and I'm elated that people listen. I'm not making podcasts for anybody to get numbers or whatever like that.
Yeah.
And as we were getting closer and closer to this time, I was thinking about having you on the podcast and what we would talk about. And I kept going back to it's something you said on a pod. You did a podcast on dating
Mm.
and your frustrations,
Mm.
which was quite comical.
Mm.
So there will be, if you're down, there will be a podcast episode with you coming on and we talk about dating.
Oh
So
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
your
yeah.
your perspective is
Ooh.
very unique, and that episode you did was funny as hell. I don't know if I told you that, but that thing had me cracking up.
And you know what's so funny, and it's something that I have because if y'all listen, I've gotten more and more comfortable with just doing this and
Hmm.
just being myself really because I'm even more goofy than this. Like my daughter the other day, I don't even remember what I did, but she just kind of looked. I think I was over here singing while I'm working, and she pokes her head over, like, "What are you doing?" And I just be in my own little world. But for a while, people wouldn't take me seriously though. So it's like, yes, I'm funny, but I also have like I'm very well rounded. Like I also have such depth and like deep
Hmm.
thinking and all that. Like some people say I think too deeply about stuff and that's fine. And so for a while I was in a season prior to podcasting where like I felt offended that people would always talk about how funny I was, but it seemed like they didn't take me seriously about the
Mm,
stuff that they should take me like
mm,
they didn't want me to be the one like when I remember yo, I'm starting a podcast. And they just assumed it was going to be like some comedy podcast. And it's like, I don't really ever, I make jokes like in a sarcastic way, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't really try to be funny. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, if I think it's funny, I'm going to laugh
Right.
because that's just, but what I've really gotten more comfortable with is like, you know what? I don't have to not have that side of me be a part of this. And so that's where y'all see me just getting more comfortable, being more goofy, because this is really just how I am, even more so than this. But um so next week, I guess I'm starting to give like little previews of episodes if I know what it's going to be about.
Mm-hmm.
So this episode drops right before Christmas. And then, of course, I got to do my end of year wrap up, such as every other
Yes.
podcaster.
Yes.
Of course, we have to discuss
Of
our
course.
year in review. And last year, Juice and I did it together, and that was the first time I did it. And so I asked him to come on again, and that's probably
Okay.
going to be who I'm going to do it with every year, just because the energy that he brings, and he's so petty, but I love it. But he reminds me of my son, but also in a you're like a little brother type way because he is younger than me. So he and I did a end of year wrap up. But the reason I'm bringing that up because one of my things I discuss is my online dating, just like some specific men that I
Mm.
interacted with, and dating is just, ooh, it is.
Save
I
it.
don't
Save it.
know.
Save it for the
Yeah, 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 yeah.
podcast.
So yeah,
Because
I'm
I
always
have
down.
questions.
I'm always down to talk about any type of interpersonal relationship dynamics because that is like one of the things I'm the most passionate about. I'm also a storyteller, so I'm gonna tell y'all
Hmm.
because I want y'all to feel like y'all was there. Like
Right.
if I just say on Christmas, make sure church isn't long. Okay. But if I tell y'all what I went through and I
Right.
take you on that journey, you
Right.
feel me in a way that you wouldn't have felt me if I just state a fact. So I've always been like that with the storyteller. I just want you to relate. But yeah, definitely down. Definitely appreciate you being so willing to hop on. I'm always
Oh,
super
no problem.
grateful
No problem.
that pretty much anybody that I invite on, even if they don't even know really what we're fully doing, they are with it. I appreciate it. I definitely have a music trivia show idea that you and I'm trying to think of who else I'm gonna have. It's gonna be a competition because I like to do that. There are several of y'all that y'all really be about that music life. So
Oh
we're gonna
yeah.
see how deep is your love? Nah, but see how deep is your knowledge of music. But y'all,
Oh,
yes, make sure the link to all of Kyle's stuff will be in the episode notes and definitely check out his show. I listen, and it's so crazy because you're somebody that I interacted with on Twitter first, and then I'm like, okay, let me, because I have a rotation,
mm-hmm.
and so then I'm like, well, let me check his show out, and then here we are. I'm
Yep.
still now I be
Yep.
way behind on my rotation, y'all. It's not
But
intentional.
you know what? The cool thing about my podcast is like it's not dated. Like
Yeah,
all of the topics, everything that I talk about, I don't talk about any current event, so
right.
nothing's dated. So it's like you can listen to if you missed the podcast that dropped October 15th, you can go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
It's about something that doesn't have anything with dated. So it's like if you and there's no knock to anybody who talks about current events, but if you are listening to a podcast that deals with current events, if you get behind on it, then
Mhm.
you really don't want to, because you know what happened in October.
Mhm.
Corona was here, and somebody died, and this
Mhm.
person, Trump did this, whatever the case may be, like
Yeah,
that.
that's about the last 2 years of our life.
so, so, and that's the thing that I love, really about, you know, your crew and how you guys get down, because, none of the stuff that you do is dated. You talk about the things in your life, but it's not dated. So if you miss a week or two or whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
you can go catch right up and be caught up, and you're never really behind, even if you're not
Right.
up on the most recent
Hmm.
episode. So that's the one thing I wanted to say about my podcast as well. So like, nah, but you listen faithful, and I appreciate it. I really
Oh
do.
yeah, yeah. I definitely have my rotation of, if I stop tweeting, if you've been in my rotation, I don't take anybody out, or to this point where it's just like, if you've been a regular and I haven't listened, it's not because I stopped listening to you. It's just
Hmm.
I've been a different type of busy. Like the job I did before, I would just zone out, work on reports, listen to podcasts all day.
Hmm.
Now I can do that sometimes, but then I'm recording a lot more content
Hmm.
for my company, or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And it's just kind of like, I can't zone out, but y'all definitely get me through, especially when I'm doing SOP writing, because somehow, some way, I can write these SOPs while I'm listening to podcasts, and I try to get caught up, and that's why I'm not really trying to add anybody else to my rotation,
No,
because
that's right.
I want to be faithful to the people that you know I already love y'all show. So definitely check him out. As always, make sure y'all take care of your mental health, emotional health during the
Facts.
holidays. I know seasonal depression is a very real thing, especially in places where you have real winter. You know what I mean? So if you live somewhere like Miami where it's sunny all year round, it may not affect you as much than if you live in Nebraska where it's winter and all that good stuff. Not good stuff. I don't know why I haven't left here yet, because I can't. But I think it's because my kids, like, yeah. But make sure you take care of your spiritual health, physical health, and be healthy in your relationships. Do what
Hmm.
you gotta do at these holiday gatherings. If you got a pregame, that is okay.
Yes.
As we said,
Yes.
it is okay to make sure you are in a good mental and emotional
Yes.
space.
Yes.
Don't be that family member that be snapping on people, or come around and have a bad attitude and everybody can see, and like you I mean, I just feel like maybe you could have stayed at home if you was
Hmm.
gonna do all that. That's just
Hmm.
my opinion. That ain't what
That's
your family
facts. That's
said, but
facts.
So I will talk to y'all soon. Man, it's almost 2022. That's wild.
I
That
know.
is so wild. And I don't think I have any other announcements. Check out Melanin Intoxicate. I'm telling you, I'm gonna talk about that every week. Because if I don't promote me, who gonna promote me? You know what I'm saying? So get y'all some merch, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition, another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for